Welcome. I hope you enjoy your practice. And if you do, give the video a like, maybe subscribe to the channel, and consider commenting or letting me know how it went. Thank you for being here. As you find your back body on the ground, you might have your knees bent, your feet planted. You could have your feet wide or your feet a bit closer together. Just find somewhere comfortable where you can focus to start with the grounding through your back body. So see if the back of the head could go a little further back. If you could get more of your back body in contact with the surface underneath, and that includes the tops of your shoulder blades. And see if the back of the neck can get closer to the ground, so that might mean drawing the chin a bit more towards your chest. And then once you feel your back body grounded, begin to breathe with a bit more intention. And then notice how your breath cycle might affect that contact with the ground underneath. So maybe as you breathe in, the body kind of lifts up a bit, or maybe it spreads from left to right. As you breathe out, you might feel that the back body feels more grounded, more in contact with that surface. And then just notice what sensations come along with that movement of the back body against the ground. And make any tweaks that might feel good or you're curious about. And keep coming back to your breath, the movement of your breath, the sound of your breath. And if you haven't already, breathe a bit more through your nose, especially as you inhale. Your exhales could be out through the nose or a mix between nose and mouth. Where you're beginning to exert some agency over your breath without overdoing it. And if thoughts are taking you somewhere else other than here, return that attention to your breath. Maybe get curious once again with the breath, that back body against the ground. Any other sensations that come up. And then when you're ready with the breath, begin to move. We'll start with some window wipers with the legs. So if your feet are close together, bring them a bit wider. You might even pigeon toe them in a bit. So your big toes a bit kind of facing one another to some amount and your heels out. And then start with your knees touching at the top. And then let your knees drop towards the left side on the exhale. And then bring yourself back through center. Let the knees touch. And then drop them towards the right side as you exhale. Move like that a few times. Finding that middle place, that center where the knees touch, and then going to the side. And then again, that middle place. And to the other side. Find one more of each. And then the next time that your knees come back through center, heel to toe your feet in and bring the right knee into your chest. Give it a squeeze and find some movement through your right ankle. As you do this, keep that back body grounded. Notice if the chin began to lift and the back of the neck got a little shorter, and see if you can return to that long back of the neck, rotating in the other direction if you haven't already. And then pause that, bring the hands behind your knee or behind your thigh and begin to straighten and bend through your right leg a few times. And try to do this keeping the thigh in the same position. And then the next time that your right leg is more straight, pause there and now point your toes away from you and draw the toes towards you. So movement through your ankle, a few times like that. And then the next time that your foot is flexed, pause for a full breath in. And then on your exhale, cross the ankle over the left thigh as you find a reclined figure four. Just by using the strength in your legs and your hips, send that right knee away from you so your hands could be resting on your belly. Take another breath in and out. And then release that, plant your right foot, and then once again, heel to toe your feet out towards the edges of your mat. Let your knees drop in towards one another. With your arms out into a T this time, drop the knees towards the left and turn your gaze or your head towards the left, towards the opposite side. And then as you inhale, come back through center and switch. And then one more of each. Center to the side and center and other side. As you inhale, knees back through center, heel to toe your feet in, and then bring your left knee into your chest. Give it a squeeze and find some rotation through that left ankle. And here your hands could be around shin, or if you prefer, your hands could be behind that left thigh. Rotating in the other direction, your toes might get a wiggle here too. And then pause that, hands behind the thigh if they're not there already, and then bending and straightening through that left leg. And as best you can, keep the thigh in the same position. Back body is still grounded, back of the neck is still long. And the next time that your leg is more straight, toes point away from you and toes towards you. And a few like that, finding that movement through your ankle. And the next time that the toes are drawing towards you, push away through the heel and then bend that left knee and cross ankle over right thigh as you find your reclined figure four on this side. So keep your left leg active. So you kind of drawing your knee away from you, and you're also pushing your ankle into that right thigh. And you could even engage a bit more that right thigh and almost like push back into the ankle with your thigh. So a little bit more action through the legs rather than just kind of hanging out. Take another breath in and a breath out. And then from here, release, both feet planted. We're going to bring those heels more or less under the knees, the arms by your side, and bridge pose, lifting the hips when you're ready. And then lowering the hips. And then again, lift and lower and lift and lower. Now we're going to stay lifted in bridge. And then heel to toe your feet out towards the edges of the mat and let the knees go with the feet. So the knees are going to go wide too. And pause here, kind of like a wide leg bridge pose. Notice a bit more work through outer glutes, like outer part of your hips. Take another breath in. A breath out. One more. And then as you exhale, keeping your feet wide, lower those hips by lengthening that spine. So lower back lengthens, tailbone as if it was trying to come between your feet. Once your lower back is down, arms out into a T and lower your knees towards the left side. You can gaze over to the right and then ground your left shoulder blade. And then come back through center. Maybe those knees touch, and we'll take it to the other side. Knees to the right, turn your head towards the left, and press down through your right shoulder blade. A breath in, and a breath out. And then as you inhale, come back through center, heel to toe your feet back, in. And then from here, we're going to make our way into a seat. So you can rock up and down if that feels good. You could find that moment of balance on your sit bones and then return. If it feels good, your legs might go overhead as you roll on your back. If rolling on your back doesn't feel right, come into a seat. We're going to meet there in a moment. All right. So once you find a seat, see if you can lean back and lean on your forearms. So you kind of getting more or less shoulders over elbows and your palms are facing down, your forearms or your fingers are kind of pointing towards your hips. You can go as wide or as narrow as feels right to you. But try to keep your chest kind of open and lifted, okay? So see how this works. Now we're going to keep the left knee bent, left foot planted, and we're going to extend the right leg. And then we're going to lift and lower that right leg. And now the movement is going to come from the hip. Okay, so as you inhale, leg lifts any amount available, and exhale, leg lowers. And again, lift and lower. And see if you can lower it just to hover, so you're not disengaging. Again, lift and lower. Nice. And again, lift and lower. And one more like that, lift and lower. Bend that right knee and plant your right foot. Same thing with the left side. Extend through that left leg, hover it. And you could try pointing toes or drawing toes towards you. It depends, see which one feels best. And then lift and lower. And as you do this, try not to change anything else. So we're really locating the movement in that left hip a few times at your own pace here. And try not to strain the neck. So you might be looking up towards the ceiling or in front of you. And let's do one more. And then bend that left knee and plant that left foot. Coming now up onto your hands. Your hands can stay behind you, heel to toe, your feet wide, and then drop your knees towards the left side. Bring the right hand over and turn your torso any amount towards the space behind you. And now look for space in the front of that right hip. Give that right glute a little squeeze. Take a breath in. And take a breath out. And then right hand returns. Knees come back through center. Feet are still wide. And then we're taking those knees over to the right side. Left hand comes over. Notice your left bum is lifted off. And then turn your torso any amount towards the space behind and find space in the front of the left hip. A squeeze through your left glute will help. Take a breath. As you inhale, left hand returns, knees come back through center, heel to toe your feet in. All right, so this time we're going to stay lifted with the torso and we're going to extend the legs, both of them. You can keep your hands here. You could bring your hands to your hip creases. You could sit up on something. So if you find that your shoulders are not coming over the hips or you found yourself like extra rounded and leaning back, prop yourself up. We're going to try and lift one leg at a time in the same way we did before, but now your angle here is a lot smaller, so the lift will be a little trickier because there's already a lot of flexion happening, okay? So don't expect like a big movement and careful with those cramps. So when you're ready, we'll start with the right. Inhale, lift any amount. Exhale, lower, hover. And again, inhale, lift. And hover, and lift, and lower all the way down, okay? Notice if you began to compensate and do things with your torso, maybe you keep your torso stable or steady and you lift a little lower, or even you don't lift anything, or you just feel like you touching less the ground, that's fine too. So left side, so when you're ready, inhale, left leg, hover. You might find one side a little trickier than the other. Again. And hover, release. Nice job. Like here I was already feeling like this side was going to kind of almost get a little cramp there. So again, bend your knees, feet wide, and we're going back into those window wipers. So hands framing hips, take a full inhale. And exhale, drop your knees to the left and bring the right arm over, turn any amount towards the space behind you, restore space in the front of the right hip. And then switch, come back through center and all the way to the other side. And then come back through center. We're going to do it one more time. Heel to toe your feet in, extend your legs. If you found that this version wasn't that gratifying or was a bit like, I don't like it, you could come back to this one, the one we did before. That might give you a little bit more movement, might feel a little nicer. You choose. When you're ready, we'll do 3 with the right leg. So as you inhale, right leg up, hover, up, hover, and up, and hover. Release it, and straight to the other side. Left leg up, hover, up, hover, and up, and hover. Nice job. Definitely my left thigh is tighter or a little bit complains more, so see what it is like with you. All right. Window wipers one more time and we'll come to stand. So take an inhale and knees over to the right. If you'd like, find that twist, arm comes over. And back through center and other side. And then back through center. We're making our way up into up to stand. So however you want to get there, I'll meet you in mountain pose. Let your arms relax down by your side. Feel your feet on the ground. If you're feeling stable, grounded, you might close your eyes. Return to that breath. And in standing here, can you kind of do the same thing with your back body that you were doing on the ground, with the ground as reference? So you might bring the shoulders a little back and down and pushing those shoulder blades a bit more towards the space behind you. And the same with the back of the head. Maybe you can lengthen the back of your neck, chin a little bit more in and down. Another breath here. And then if your eyes were closed, opening them, we'll sweep those arms wide and up. Palms might touch or not. On your exhale, right hand down, side bend. Inhale, come back through center. And exhale to your left. Inhale back through center. One more of each to the right. And inhale, center and left. On the inhale, come back through center, interlace fingers overhead, palms towards ceiling, whole body stretch, a breath in. And then as you exhale, a bend in the knees, arms go wide, and we fold over the legs. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Another one, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And another half lift. And exhale, fold. With your next inhale, chair pose. And as you exhale, arms down by your side and maybe reaching back. Palms are facing one another. Inhale, forward, up. Exhale, arms down and back. Another one, inhale, forward, up. And exhale, down and back. As you inhale all the way up, straightening legs, arms overhead. Exhale, left arm down, side bend. Come back through center, breath in, over to the right. Back through center, inhale, find the opposite interlace of your fingers this time, and again, palms towards the ceiling. Maybe you take this into a bit of a balance, if you'd like, onto the balls of the feet. Take a breath in. And then on your exhale, lowering heels, and we're folding. So again, a bend in the knees as you go forward and down. Halfway lift on the inhale, and fold as you exhale. Again, half lift, inhale, and fold, exhale. One more like that, halfway lift. And now on your exhale, plant your hands and step your feet back, downward facing dog. Find some movement through your legs, as if you were walking. Let your hips sway from side to side. And keep pushing the floor away with your hands. Press down through the finger pads. Remember those spider hands, so find a little bit of that. And then find stillness for a full breath in. And out. And then as you inhale, come out into a plank pose, shoulders over wrists. And on your exhale, return to downward facing dog. Slow it down, inhale, out into plank. Exhale, slowly, downward facing dog. One more. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. With your next inhale, make your way to the top of the mat. And on your exhale, fold. Inhale, rise into chair. And exhale, this time one arm at a time, right arm down and back. Inhale and lift. Left arm lowers, exhale. Inhale and lift. Right arm. Inhale, lift, and left. Now as you inhale, both arms lift, legs straighten. On your exhale, side bend to the right. Back through center, inhale, and over to your left. center, inhale. Interlace your fingers, but this time palms behind the head, so bend your elbows. As you inhale, take your elbows wide, maybe rest the head into the hands, maybe look up if that feels good. And then on your exhale, bend your knees, round your spine, elbows towards knees. Inhale, straighten legs, rise up, open up towards the ceiling. Feel your shoulder blades come close. Exhale and round, elbows forward and down. One more like that. Inhale, we open up. Find a squeeze through your glutes. And exhale, we round. On the inhale, stay with your chair legs and lift the arms and the torso. And as you exhale, bring hands to your heart. All right, focus on those feet or those ankles. So as you breathe in, lift your left heel. As you exhale, lower. Inhale, right heel. Exhale, lower. Option to do the same thing or come onto your left toes and lift the toes off the ground. And then return them without changing much else. And same thing with the right toes. Maybe they leave the ground as that knee comes up and then toes return. On your inhale, straighten legs and arms. As you exhale, right arm down, side bend. Inhale, center, and to the other side. Inhale, center. On your exhale, arms go wide and bring them behind you, interlace them. Elbows start bent and see if you can draw them a little closer together. Feel your shoulder blades come close too, and then keep that as you straighten any amount those arms. Notice that broadness in your chest, the fronts of your shoulders. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, fold forward. See if you can keep that interlace. A bend in the knees, torso towards your thighs, head drops, and maybe then knuckles towards the ceiling as you pull your shoulders away from the floor. Another breath in and out. Now release your hands, halfway lift, inhale. And exhale, plant your hands and step back, downward facing dog. And again, find that walking down dog. So bending and straightening, letting your hips move a bit from side to side. And then keep pressing away with your hands. Imagine your chest trying to reach your thighs or your knees. And then find a breath in stillness. And then as you inhale, come out into your plank pose. And on your exhale, return to downward facing dog. 2 more at your own pace, but see if you can go slower rather than fast. No more control over the movement. And 1 more time. And then we'll meet in downward facing dog for a full breath in. And then on your exhale, lower your knees to the mat. We're coming into a table pose. Hands under shoulders, more or less, knees more or less under hips. And then once you get there, give the tops of the feet a tap against the ground. Spread your toes and see if you can feel your toenails also making contact. And then pause that. We'll find some slow cows and cats. So section by section, the cow pose is going to begin by the tailbone lifting, the belly lowering, the chest coming between the arms, the chin and the gaze lifting. And then cat pose is going to begin with the chin drawing in towards the chest, the shoulder blade spreading, the tailbone tucking. And then 2 more at your own pace. And last one. And then find your neutral spine. And we're going to float that left knee, left shin, and we're going to circle that left hip. And you can start with small circles and then begin to invite bigger ones. Invite that left knee to go a bit more left and up, and then switch direction. And then we're going to invite that left knee to go out to the left and up. And then once you've got that, straighten that left leg and then plant your left foot. So you're going to have your left foot out to the left, more or less aligned with your right knee. And then once you've got this, we're going to rise up. So walk your hands in and lift your torso. So you're standing on your right knee, your right shin, your left foot is out to the left. Okay? And then from here, try to rotate your left leg. So we're going to turn the toes and the knee to point up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to bring it back down. Okay, so it's going to be external rotation as the knee and the toes turn up. And it's going to come back to neutral as they come back down. Okay, try that again. There you go, yeah. And one more. And then the next time that your toes and knee are pointing up, we're going to bend. We're going to plant that left foot and bend into that left knee. So for some of us, you might need to bring that foot in a little bit. And then bend that knee, and we're going to lean into it and away from it. Okay? Yeah, there you go. Nice. Try to keep your left knee pointing in the same direction as your toes. So you could bring your left hand to your left thigh, or you could even lean your forearm on it. And you'll notice that as you go over to the left, you're getting quite a stretch through inner thighs, groin area. Just notice that. Then the next time that you're going left, you're pausing there, hand or forearm resting on the thigh, and then see if you can find this kind of side angle, kneeling side angle, right arm by your ear with the palm facing down. And now use your left hand to invite that left knee to go a little further back, so you've got a bit more stretch through inner thigh. And then use your right fingers to find that extra space in that right side body. Breathing in and breathing out. One more here. And then as you inhale, we're going to come back through center. Now the right hand is going to plant all the way over to the right side. Your left leg straightens, and now you've got this supported side plank. Your left foot could stay down, or you could lift it up. Your left arm could go by your ear. Maybe even turn your gaze up towards the ceiling. Remember that squeeze through your glutes to keep your hips stable. Another breath in. And then as you exhale, if your left foot was lifted, lower it, and then bring yourself back forward. You're back into your table pose with the left leg out. And then last little burst of energy on this side. We're going to lift that left leg. Inhale. Take it out behind us and lower the knee to the mat, back into table. Take an inhale into cow. And as you exhale, go all the way into downward facing dog. We'll make this an easy down dog, so not too long. More weight into your legs than your hands. And really let the neck relax, the head be heavy. You might look side to side. And take a breath. One more here. And then with your next exhale, we're lowering back onto hands and knees, your table pose, and we'll tackle all of that on the other side. Hopefully I remember, but we'll see. So we'll float that right knee and we'll begin those circles here on this side. You could start with small ones, and as you did on the other side, begin to invite a little bigger, a bit more lift. The hardest part of this movement is most likely bringing the right knee out to the right and up. So just bring your awareness there and see how that can happen. And when you're ready, switch direction. And then the next time that your right knee is out to the right and up, you're going to pause there, straighten the leg, and then with control, lower that right foot. So now within this table pose with the right foot out to the right, more or less in line with that left knee. And then we're walking those hands in as we come up once again to stand on that left shin, left knee, and your right leg is out to the right. We're going to find that rotation on this side. So I like to draw the toes towards the shin. So with the toes pointing towards the screen, that means that the pinky side edge of my foot lifts, and then I rotate. Toes up, knee also faces up, and then back down. And a few times like that. There you go. And bringing your fingers here to the right hip might also give you that sense, that is the rotation is coming from your hip. So you'll feel your thigh rotate too. Nice work. And the next time that the toes, the knees pointing up, we're going to bend into that right knee. So maybe you need to bring that foot in some. And then bend and straighten a few times here. And as best you can, try to keep your knee tracking or facing in the same direction as your toes. And you might bring your hand to your thigh or to your knee just to keep it kind of like that, facing in that direction. And you can make this as short or as long as you'd like. Shorter, it will give you a bit more control, but depending how much stretch is available or you'd like, then maybe longer, you choose. And then the next time that we have that right knee bent, we're going to pause. You could rest your hand or maybe your forearm on that thigh, and then side angle or kneeling side angle, left arm might come by your ear. Palm is facing down. Maybe one side is a bit more awkward than the other. And maybe here that applies, right? That yoga is not asking you to be more than you are, but to be all that you are. So see if that applies here. One more breath. And then as we inhale, we're going to come back, straightening through that right knee, and then this left hand is going to land all the way over to the left, and you're going to make your way into a supported side plank. Nice job. Make this nice for yourself too, okay? So maybe that means right foot down, maybe it means right foot lifted, maybe right arm by your ear, maybe the chest can turn a little bit more towards the ceiling. Engage through the glutes, another breath in. And then on the exhale, we're going to lower the hands in front of us once again, just like we started, that table pose with the right leg out. Last burst here, right leg is going to lift. We're sending it back behind us. And we're making our way back into table. Great job. Take a breath in. And then on your exhale, downward facing dog. And take your feet wide, edges of the mat. Make it short, so your heels are well planted. Maybe your hands are on something a little higher, your blocks, or a stool, or a chair. You could give your toes a wiggle. And again, neck relaxed, head relaxed. Couple breaths. And then we'll walk those hands towards the feet. Wide leg forward fold. You could hold on to opposite elbows for a couple more breaths. Maybe a sway from side to side. And then from here, we're going to make our way down into a seat. So you might bring your feet in and then begin to bend your knees as if you were coming into a squat. And maybe with your hands behind you for support or not, you find your sit bones on the ground with your legs in front of you. All right, if you're like me and you're at the back of your mat, extend your legs in front of you and then walk your sit bones all the way forward, giving your glutes a bit of a massage against the ground. And then once you get here, bend your knees and now bring the soles of the feet together. Let your knees go wide. You could hold onto your ankles. You could bring your hands behind you, which is a really nice place to broaden the chest. Sometimes if the hands are in front of us, we kind of round by default, which is not a bad thing, but we're already very good at doing that. So we'll balance things by keeping that spine a bit more lifted. And then find a little rebound here with your legs. So lift and lower, kind of using momentum a few times. And then find stillness. We did this on Monday, that hip mobility little drill, so we'll do it here again today. So right knee is going to stack on top of left. Try to keep the rest of the body as stable, steady as possible. Open up. Left knee on top of right. And maybe that means not taking that left knee as far or that left leg as far. And then come back. One more of each. And back. And last one of this. And back. And now the little tweak here. So right knee up and internal rotation as that knee goes towards that left heel. Right foot is out to the right. And then you bring it back. And then left knee up, in towards right heel. And bring it back. One more of each. Nice. And then once you are here, bring the knees up and we're coming onto our back body. So again, maybe your arms reach forward. Take a full breath in, broaden, lengthen. On your exhale, chin to chest and begin to lower section by section that back body to the ground. And then once you arrive, I don't know if you guessed it, but we're going into bridge pose because we did quite a bit with the hip flexors. They might need some space. So arms by your side, palms face down when you're ready, lifting those hips. You could choose to lift and lower. You might choose to stay in your bridge. And depending how much opening you want in the whole of the front body, you might scoot your shoulder blades kind of underneath you, a bit closer to one another. And you might push into the heels of your feet as if you were trying to kind of split the mat in two. And you might find quite a bit of space and stretch through the back of the neck. If that feels good, try it. Glutes are working Fronts of the hips are getting stretched. Another breath in. And another breath out. One more. And then when you're ready, lowering down. Slow down the lowering and try to lengthen the lower back as you do. So curl the tailbone under or between the legs and begin to reach sit bones towards heels as you lower. Once the sacrum reaches the ground, take a moment. Maybe you need to scoot your shoulder blades out from underneath. And then heel to toe your feet wide, pigeon toe the feet and let your knees rest in against one another. Pause, breathing in and out. And as you find this moment here, recognize it as kind of the same shape we started practicing. And see if once again you can bring awareness to the back body and how it's connecting to the ground. And are there any tweaks that you could do to get that back body a little more grounded? And then as you bring awareness once again to your breathing, notice how your breath cycle might shift a bit or change a bit that relationship of your back body with the ground. And notice how. You might find that as you inhale, there's a bit of a lift, maybe a little less contact, or the contact doesn't feel as full or as intense. And then as you exhale, you might find that the contact of the back body with the ground feels a lot more intimate, a lot more like you dropping in. And now begin to emphasize the exhales. And begin to find that more grounding action of your exhales, grounding that back body. And now as we make our way into Shavasana, you might stay in this position with your knees bent. You might choose to extend your legs out. You might choose a completely different position. Feel free to. But see if you can, again, find that grounding, whether it's of your back body, if you're lying down, or any other part of the body that's making contact with surface if you're in a different position. And you might even visualize the edges of your body melting towards the ground. And see if that can be kind of an indication or a suggestion that you can let go of that effort that we usually carry around to hold ourselves up, to hold ourselves as separate, which is good effort, good idea, but maybe we don't have to do it all the time. And this might be one of those moments where you can really just give that a rest. Almost like you're letting yourself Just really be part of the ground, the earth underneath. I'll be quiet for the next few minutes and I'll guide us out when it's time. Shavasana. And notice any thinking happening. Maybe you can pinpoint clearly the content of that thinking, or maybe it's a little fuzzy. But then let that go and bring your awareness back to your breath. And as you make your breath a little bit more obvious, notice the movement of your breath and notice the sound. And then visualize the movement of your breath reaching your toes and fingers, And begin to find some movement there, the movement of your breath reaching your ankles and your wrists, moving there. The movement of your breath reaching all the way to the head, maybe moving your chin from side to side. Finding any other movement that feels right to you. And when you're ready, eventually we'll meet in a seat where we'll end the practice together. And you might choose to rest your hands in your lap or your chest. And maybe your eyes stay closed a little longer. You give yourself a breath. And we'll take some gratitude towards the practice. And we'll give gratitude towards ourselves and our own practice. And gratitude to all those who have practiced with us. And gratitude to those who have made it possible. And we'll end with a word that means that the light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.